We're here with Navy starting defensive tackle Jerrick Hall. I guess let's start off by what led you to the Naval Academy. You know, you're from Mississippi, right?
Yes, sir.
What brought you to Maryland to play for this United States Naval Academy?
What brought me to Maryland was basically my sister. My sister spent 26 years in the Navy.
Really?
So yeah, she's a doctor who's retired a commander, and she told me pretty much this is a once in a lifetime opportunity that you're gonna get, and you'll be set up for success in the long run. So I had to take it. It's about the next 40 years instead of the next 5. So.
What's your sister's name?
Ronjean Davis.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And so when Navy started recruiting you, she put in the word and said you need to take a look at that.
Yes, sir. She did, and I followed her word. I mean, it's been a dream come true so far.
So before Navy entered the picture, or even after, who else? What other schools did you consider? Where else might you have landed had Navy not ended up being the choice?
If Navy hadn't landed, I'd probably probably would have been to Troy or Tulane, just because it was close to where my dad was from in New Orleans, and he had passed away my senior year, so I wanted to kind of stay home.
Okay, tell us about that? I mean, that must have been a difficult situation with your dad dying your senior year in high school.
Yes, sir, it was. He died my senior year I was actually supposed to be visiting here for an official visit. He died 2 weeks prior to coming, and Coach Ingram, I told Coach Ingram I wasn't going to come on an official visit, and he kind of just let me know that they were all here for me and they didn't even know me yet. So I thought that was encouraging, and one of the reasons that led me here as well.
So can you talk about the support you've had to rely on your mother for in the wake of losing one parent?
Yeah, so my mother's always been my rock. She's a person who go to when times get hard. She's always been there, so is my dad as well. But like, my mother is just a strong, independent woman, always, and she still is, even though she has my stepfather now.
So you went to the prep school, is that correct?
Yes, sir, I did.
Did you connect with anyone immediately when you all arrive up there? It's a bunch of football players and they just nothing but yourselves to lean on?
Yes, sir. I thought when I first arrived there, I thought that I was alone. So as every high schooler kid just comes out to go to prep school. But I quickly found friends in there. So like Jamel Crothers, and has been my best friend ever since then. So yeah, build a family real quick at Naps.
So getting here and arriving at the academy, and I think, you know, did you originally get what did they originally bring you in to play?
Originally,
were you a linebacker or a D lineman in high school?
I was both. I played I mostly played linebacker in high school though.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. So the transition was kind of a little rough at first, because I thought that I wanted to play linebacker and stuff, but so I started gaining a little weight because they wanted me to play defensive line, so that's what I did.
Mm-hmm. And so can you talk about who was a good mentor originally when you first got here, and you know, a D lineman that maybe took you under his wing and taught you some ropes?
Yeah, definitely. It was definitely Jarvis. I don't know if you remember Jarvis, but he definitely mentored me. Even when I was sitting in Coach Grantham's as a plebe, he took us in, really showed us the playbook and techniques wise, and I think he had mastered the mundane, and it's kind of crazy to see how he works, and I kind of adapted that.
So that must be pretty nice, neat to have a veteran guy that is willing to take time to help a plebe.
Yes, sir, and Jackson Pittman as well. Yeah,
So talk about playing for Coach Hall. I think that your last 3 seasons have been with Coach Hall, correct?
Yes, sir.
Right. And you mentioned the other day on the Zoom that you'd call him all the time, but how has he really helped you with technique? Being a former defensive lineman himself, what has he been able to show you, hands-on, what to do?
Yeah, he's been able to show me a lot. Like, being a defensive lineman helped me and him, because he can actually show me different blocking schemes that the teams are going to do. Because blocking schemes they change sometimes, but most of the times they're always at the core of their. You maybe get 3 to 4 blocking schemes within the game, and you kind of know what to expect based on the back and based on the sniffer or anything like that. So that's what Coach Hall has brought to me.
So you played a good amount as a sophomore. Now here as a senior. How are you a better player today than when you first started getting a lot of playing time as a sophomore? What have you improved upon?
Definitely my hands, I think. My hands and my eyes. My eyes was a big part that I was lacking in my sophomore year. I would constantly look in the backfield and stuff like that, not trust my keys but I feel like this year I've been trusting my keys, burning the eye through my key, as Coach Vogel was saying, and just playing off that guy and trusting it. So I think that's where my game was better now.
So have you paid it forward from what Jarvis and Jackson Pittman did for you when you were a young guy? Are you putting your arms around some younger guys?
Yes, sir.
Lead them and show them the way?
Yes, sir. Clay Cromwell and Biscuit, like they usually just, Clay would just ask me some things about technique-wise, and we'll go over some of the plays that he may be having trouble with, and I'm always happy to help. And if I can't help him, like I don't play nose, obviously, but I don't know a lot of the nose stuff, so we get together and for film, and we'll just go over it all together as a defense.
So what is next for you as you move into the service? I don't know that they've had service selection yet, I don't believe, but what would you like to do? What are you hoping to do?
Yeah, so we've actually had service selection. I've picked Marine ground. I would like to do that.
Right.
We'll see if we get it.
It hasn't been assigned,
yeah,
but you
hasn't been assigned.
put in your
choices.
You put
Yes,
in your
sir.
request, right?
Yeah, yes, sir.
For Marine ground?
Yes,
Why
sir.
do you want to go there, do that?
I feel like being part of the Navy football team, like it's like a culture. It's what you know, hard work, just brotherhood. I think the Marines just fit that morale, so that's where I wanted to be.
So, you know, your sister led you to here and said it was a good call. 4 years later, or 5 years really,
Yes, sir,
prep
5.
school. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Glad you made a decision?
I am. I'm glad. Solid.
All right, fantastic. Thanks a lot, Jerry.
Thank you.
Jarius, one more question since we had some issues with the Zoom yesterday. This is the first time since 1984, is it?
Yeah.
Top 2 team is coming to Annapolis. Just what's this moment going to be like?
It's gonna be special. Can't get too far wrapped in the numbers. Number 2, it's just we're here to play ball. Respect Cincinnati, but we're not gonna back down. So.
Going off of that, you guys are not throwing in the towel by any means. You're coming in to take away a W.
Yes, sir. We are.
What's it going to take to do that?
It's gonna take blood, sweat, and tears on our side, offensive side. Everybody knows their job, and we're gonna have to play a perfect ball game if we're gonna win this game.
We're here with Navy defensive tackles and ends nose guards coach Jerrick Hall. Coach, we're talking about Jarius Warren. Do a little feature on him. You've had 3 years to work with him. You know, what can you tell us about Jarius?
I tell you, I couldn't be more excited and pleased with, the effort that he's been giving us out there. Just from when he came to me as a sophomore to now, he's grown so much. He's matured. He's grown into a leader in the front. And a lot of that comes from just watching the guys that came before him, like the Jackson Pittmans, the Crows, all those guys. He's really taken on that leadership role. The guys look up to him from a playbook standpoint. He's really matured. He knows his plays out there, and it's just fun to watch. Take ownership. Of what he's doing out there, taking ownership of the room. So I'm really excited about what he's doing for us.
So he played tackle as a sophomore, and then last year, early in the season, you all were going to flip him and Jackson, have him play end, Jackson play tackle, and then you flipped it back after one game. Why did you determine that Jarius was better suited at tackle, or maybe it was that Perkins was better suited at end, or maybe both?
Well, we was experimenting there, and what we found that when you play in the defensive tackle spot, as much slants and angles that we do, he really he fits the mold for it. As far as from a quickness piece, he's smaller. He's going to be smaller than from a size standpoint than the offensive lineman that we play in the league. But he's quick and he's strong, and he plays a good pad level. And that's what allowed him to be successful in there with all the stunts and things like that we do.
So, obviously he is very undersized to be playing D tackle in this league against the schedule you play. How has he held up? Does he hold his own even against these big 300-pound linemen he's trying to beat?
Yeah, he does. He holds his own, and the reason why he's able to do that is because of his film study. He's constantly watching film, and that's another thing that has improved from over the years, and I can tell because I can be at home eating dinner, and I get a call or a text message, and it's him asking me about a certain play. This offensive guard, he's doing this, the center's doing that, and those types of things, and that's how I know he's watching film.
Right.
And so with the film study, he knows where his hands need to be. He knows where his pad level needs to be when he going up against bigger opponents.
Yeah, he told us on the Zoom yesterday that he's actually called you at like midnight. He's like, I don't know if Coach Hall sleeps tonight. He's like, I guess not. When you're calling him at midnight, it's hard to sleep.
Yeah.
But he's that into it. I mean, it means
Yeah.
a lot to him.
Yeah, and I told those guys, all of my guys that's in the room, I said, my phone is never off. You need me, you call me or you text me, and I'll be there for you.
So how would you describe Jerrick as a person? I mean, does he have a nickname, or what are the guys? What type of guy is he? Is he a jokester, or is he keep to himself? How would you kind of describe him?
Well, it's Jay. Yeah, everybody calls him Jay. And then some people call him Jay Warren. That's kind of the staple. Of his name there. And he always has a smile on his face. Off the field.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, when he's on the field, now it's a different mentality. And I like that with all my guys. I guess kind of like how I try to be. But he always has a smile on his face. He's yes sir. He's no sir. He's very respectful. He always walks by my office because in order to get to our meeting room, you got to walk on the other side. Yeah. And in order to get there, you got to walk by my office. And every time he walks to the meeting room, he always pokes his head in and says hello. And that speaks volumes for me. He's just all around just he's a great kid.
So is it kind of cool for you? You've now been at Navy 3 years, and this is like the first group that you've watched develop. Mm-hmm. And so a guy like Jerrick, who you got as a young pup and raw around the edges and need to be molded, and now here, as you move into the end of his senior season, he's becoming the best football player he can be. Mm-hmm. Is that kind of cool?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. But the thing is, it's a testament to his character. Because in order to be able to grow and in order to be able to mature, it's a want to. You got to want to do those things. And that's something that it's always inside you. But at a certain point, it comes out. And usually, as you go through guys from a freshman, sophomore, junior, it really comes out. The end of the junior year, senior year, it really comes out. That's how it was for me as I was a defensive lineman coming through the ranks. That's when the light kind of just comes on. That junior, senior year.
All right. Well, thank you, Coach Hall. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Thanks.
Two quick more about Jerrick. One is I don't want to talk about that fake punt from last year too much, but what does that say about his athleticism that a guy of his size can be doing something like that?
Yeah. Well, let me back you up. The first thing that when he found out that he was going to be doing that, all right, faking that punt. It's just like that's where his mind was. So like when we're on the sideline and they calling for the punt team, he was like, oh, like that. He was all over it. And I knew just from that mentality that he had, I knew that when he got that opportunity that he was going to make the most of it. And that's what he did. But it's the same deal. The same thing with his slants, his movements and stuff. He's just an athletic guy, that can run and he plays extremely hard.
And on a different note, Jerrick lost his father his senior year of high school. One of the beauties of being a coach is you get to sometimes be a father figure to some of these guys. Just what has that relationship been like over the last few years?
Oh, it's been awesome. And like I said before, like with my role, as being a coach, a guy who's been there before, who's been to school, been to these classes, I just want them to know that I am there for them no matter what it is. My door is always open. My door is always open in my office. My door is always open at my house and at my home. My phone's always on. I'm just making myself available anytime any of the guys that need to talk about anything at all right, they can always reach out to me.